Welcome to the More Than Just Mowing podcast. I'm your host, Joel Cleaver, and this is the official podcast of Jim's Mowing. If you didn't know it, it's the world's largest gardening franchise with more than 2,000 franchisees in Australia, New Zealand and Canada. And on the podcast show, we interview franchisees, our franchisors who run the regions and manage the franchisees, and also Jim himself. So there's a lot of broad range of content, and we do encourage you, if you are researching more about Jim's Mowing, about what we do, go through those episodes. It will give you a great sense of who we are. So without further delay, here's today's episode. So welcome to the Jim's podcast, and this will be on the Jim's Mowing podcast as well. And thank you for joining us today, Brent. So Brent, you're one of our core voucher winners, and I think you were nominated for your exceptional customer service. And I had a look at your ratings. You got a perfect star rating, and you've only started being with us maybe, I think it was 2022, or you haven't been with us for too long.
This is my third year now, I think. It was 2020, December 2020.
December 2020 you started.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, what were you doing prior to Jim's Mowing?
I suppose I'd done a bit of everything really, and those jobs I had put me in probably good stead to run my own business. It's something I was thinking of for quite a while. I was a regional manager and a sales trainer as well at the same time, mainly for bigger retail chains, and did that for quite a long while, but I think it passed its use-by date with me, and I just wanted to get out of it. Before that, a long time before that, I was a greenkeeper when I left school. That was what I did my apprenticeship in. So getting back to what I'm doing now was sort of always where I wanted to be. I'd just gone away from it for too long, and now I'm loving life again.
You had the perfect background, greenkeeper and sales trainer. That's the two probably best things you can have, and then you've got them combined. So that's a really good skill set.
Yeah, I think it did put me in good stead for today, because I mean, being a regional manager and store manager and operating the business, you get to see the ins and outs and the numbers and all the stuff you need to. The sales part and the training part help with, the way you communicate with clients and others, and then as you said, the greenkeeping just fit right in. It's
probably the best previous career combination I've heard of in doing these. I do these a lot, and that's probably the best qualified one I've heard by a mile. So with Jim's Mowing, you obviously want to use your skills in that. So why was it Jim's Mowing? There are other options and stuff. So what was it about Jim's Mowing that you decided to choose that brand for?
I would say I got a little bit lucky, but I had the perfect navigation through to Jim's, and that was a guy by the name of Trevor, who's got a Jim's Mowing franchise as well up in Penrith. Him and I have been working together for over 10 years in different retail spaces, and I suppose known each other. He started before me and just said, he was doing really well. He could see me do really, really well in Jim's as well. And when I went out with him for a week and really got into it, I thought this is made for me, and I really enjoyed it. And I think the more I looked at it, I knew I just had to take the jump. I see too many people sort of procrastinate about things like this, and I just thought I've got to bite the bullet and do it. And I can't say enough about the brand itself. I mean, that's helped me immensely just with the gym. The recognition of that brand name and the how powerful it is second to none.
And what was your training experience like? You would have already known all the ins and outs with regards to the technical side of it, but how did you find the training itself?
Yeah, pretty easy. It wasn't too overcomplicated, which is good. It gives every new franchisee or someone who's doing retraining, it just gives them the info they need to know to put them on the front foot, I suppose. And I thought it was really good. I think the systems and the procedures that Jim's has got set up, you just can't fault it.
And what was your first week like? You recall how it was going from being in employment for so long to then running your own business? Was it scary, or how was the first week like for you?
I wouldn't say scary. It's just a little bit of good nervous energy, I suppose. You know what you're doing, you know how to do it and everything like that. It's just getting it done really, and getting through that first week, and getting through it really. But I thought it was great. I was pretty prepped and ready to go. So there was no confusion or things that weren't tied up properly. For me, it was all systems go, and I was ready for it. So yeah, it was pretty smooth. I mean, I bought a split to start with as well, so I did have customers there. I believe, looking back now, that was probably the best way to do it. So there was work there to start off with, and you can build on that. And I think that just got me to where I wanted to be a hell of a lot quicker than some of the other options, I suppose.
And you said at the start as well, you're loving life again. So what was that about? Was it just in your previous job, you just weren't enjoying it, or you knew you wanted to do your own business or something more? What was that sort of feeling about?
It was a lot of things, and it's going to take a lot of time to go through them. But to try and put it into a few smaller ones, it was the lifestyle. It was knowing. I mean, when I started, yes, it was just work, just trying to get your business going. But it was knowing I was working hard and seeing the benefit myself. When you're in the past, when you're working for other companies and things like that, you're not necessarily seeing the reward straight away for the hard work you're putting in there. When it's going into your own business, and you can see that through financial benefits, through your clientele and everything like that. It's just a breath of fresh air in that way, and just having the lifestyle to be able to. We'll probably talk about it a little bit more later, but the flexibility that gyms can give you with your family and your lifestyle and everything like that, it really is a breath of fresh air.
Let's talk about that flexibility. So you just stated you got a family. So what does it allow you to do with your family that you probably couldn't maybe do before?
Spend time with them for one. Just little things, being home at a different time where it's not dark, so you can take your kids to the park and kick the ball, ride bikes around with them. Even if it's just for an hour, it's an hour you never had before. There's not too many businesses where you pick what you want out of it, and gyms really gives you that. So you can do 12, 13 jobs a day and really fill your day in if you want. If you haven't sort of got a family yet, and everyone's in different scenarios, but if you really want to work hard and get that income in, you can do that. But if you also want to spend time with your family and still earn a good wage, you can definitely do that. So I like that flexibility, and you pick your avenue. You're not forced down one or the other. And I suppose the position I'm in at the moment is the last 2 years I didn't do that. I worked a lot. Seen the financial benefits of it, but this year, in my third year, I'm looking to take a little step back and be able to enjoy that more. And I've already seen it over the last 6 months, so it's been good.
Great to hear. And let's talk about your business yourself. So are you running it by yourself, or do you got employees, or what's your business structure like?
Now I'm by myself again. I started off that way. I did have up to 2 employees at one stage, full-time employees. The reason I've gone back to being on my own was I just think for me and what I want out of it and how it was going, I think I'm just better off by myself at the moment. I do have options there. I've never had to say no to a job because I haven't got enough staff. So I haven't had to look at things like that, but very comfortable on my own now. And absolutely full of work as well. So yeah.
And what type of jobs are you doing in your business, or you find yourself gravitating towards that you enjoy more? What type of work do you like doing?
I like all of it in terms of what I enjoy, but at the moment it's a lot of mowing, gardening work. So you're hedging. I love doing hedging, formal hedging and shapes and all that sort of stuff. I'm a little bit OCD in that way. So do a bit of that. But in winter time, it'd be silly not to look at some of the other things on offer while you slow down a bit. And that's where I tend to do a bit of returfing, a little bit of soft landscaping and new gardens, all that.
Well, coming into winter, sorry, bit of a mixture. Yep. Sorry, come in winter though for customers. What's your customers in your area or be looking to do in winter? Maybe like obviously if the lawns maybe slow down a bit, what's some other things that they should be looking at doing around their home if they want to keep a really good looking garden?
Okay, well, there's a lot you can do, and a lot of people think you take your foot off the pedal come winter. It's not the case in my book. That's the time to prep for the growing season to come, because by the time it's here, you're flat out just cutting and trimming it all the time. So things like aerating, dethatching, fertilizing still. And a lot of this time of year when you've got the colder weather, it can be prone to disease. So it's spraying fungicides and herbicides as well and things like that, just to make sure the grass is as healthy as it can be through this period. And if it's looking pretty good now and you're doing all those things, come summer and spring, you're really going to enjoy that. So there's no shortage of things to do with the grass and gardens alone, let alone around the house, like your gutter cleans and all that sort of stuff. So, but there's definitely a lot to do. Remulching in gardens and adding new soil. There's just a lot you can be doing.
And what's the biggest misconception about Jim's Mowing, you think, from your perspective in regards to maybe customers? Because you just named a lot of services which are obviously beyond the name of the brand itself. So what are some misconceptions or something that customers might be surprised with, or that you come across sometimes when they realize you can do all these different things?
Yeah, I think you just nailed it on the head there. I think that's what it is. It's thinking we're only mowing. Even though, you drive past them with the trailer and there's all those little words next to it that we do, they don't have a clue. In the nicest way, they just don't have a clue that we do more than mowing. And even my customers I've had for, a year or two, even though you've told them before, they might forget, and it's just not at the forefront of their mind. So, dropping the little flyers in there of what else we do, and generally the minute you do that, the next week you're getting the question, hey, can you do this and this as well? So you've got to replant that seed there for them. But I think the common misconception is that we are guys that only come and mow your lawn, and we don't do the other stuff, or don't have the skill set or the knowledge about the other stuff. But in most cases that's not the go.
Yeah, they don't know that they've got to, because Greenkeeper is a 4-year apprenticeship, isn't it? Or was a 4-year apprenticeship? Yeah, so they're going to.
Yes, it's changed. That was that was nearly 20 years ago now. So
yeah, now 2 of my cousins did it actually at Barnbougle Golf Course in Tassie and stuff. So I know a little bit about it. But the point is for the customers is, like, you got someone like you coming up who's a 4-year qualified greenskeeper, like someone who's really, really professional, as opposed to the bloke who's just chucked the mower on the back of his ute and going around.
I think that's whether you go to do a quote or talking to a customer, within the first 10 minutes, and I've had the feedback, they're generally blown away by the knowledge I have, and I just think they're expecting sometimes you to turn up and just with a lawnmower and a whippersnipper and just be able to cut the lawn, and that's about all of your skills. But generally, when you can talk to them about their lawn, most of them do want to know about it. They might not be as passionate as us, but they still want a good lawn at the end of the day. And when you can give them that knowledge, and they really do appreciate it anyway, from what I've found.
And what's your secret to providing good customer service? Because you've got a really good star rating. So what's your secret? Is there something you do that may be different, or is it just the basics, or what do you do well?
No, it's something I do all the time, and I never stray from it, and that's the quality of work. I don't cater to lesser work for a lesser price or anything like that. I don't even entertain that at all. With me, you are going to get quality and nothing but the best. And I think every job I do, whether it's gardening or lawns, the attention to detail and the quality for my customers, and the reason I've had the same ones from day dot and they haven't gone away, is they know what they're getting from me is generally a little bit more than the person they've maybe had in the past. And they just appreciate that I've taken that job off their hands, really, and they don't have to worry about it anymore. So, and knowing it's going to be done well, I think quality is my biggest asset.
That's great to hear. And also the reliability, I guess, we hear a lot about people who just don't rock up or this and that. So, the reliability, you're in uniform, it's a trusted, the trust as well. If that's a provider, not having to worry about if someone goes missing, you got to get another one, all that sort of stuff. So,
yeah, look, people talking with a lot of customers, they have been burnt that way in the past. They've had guys not show up, and they're constantly ringing them to find out when they're coming back. There is a bit of that in our trade. I wouldn't say with gyms, but in other businesses, I suppose, or guys out there on their own, and it's just hard to see that, because I don't think it's hard to provide a good service to the customer, where they know when you're going to turn up, they know roughly what time. I mean, most of my clients are scheduled on the same day each fortnight, or in winter monthly, and pretty much they're at the same time each fortnight. So they know you can't. I don't think it's hard to do. So yeah.
And how many regulars do you have in your business? How big is your business customer base?
Well, it's actually a little bit smaller at the moment, because I've just sold my first split.
Congrats.
4 or 5 months ago. So that was part of me going back to being on my own, knowing I couldn't take all those customers. So I believe I sit about 80 customers now. And yeah, before that had about 127, 130 or something like that. And yeah, just the last year and a half, I've just been scaling back. So yeah.
And what's your typical business day look like? Are you dropping the kids off at school, or are you picking them up, or what does a typical day look like for you?
No, I escape the school runs. So I just leave about probably 7:30 in the morning to start my run. Generally home by about 2:30, 3 o'clock, and I've finished for the day. That's on a typical day where it's mainly just lawns and gardening. If I'm doing some other things, then obviously the time on that job is varied. But yeah, typical day is probably 7:30 till 3 o'clock, I suppose, and I'm done and dusted for that day and planning for the next one. So yeah.
And what type of equipment do you run in your business?
Sorry, what was that, John?
And what type of equipment do you run in your business? So we always have a lot of franchisees who have different gear setups, and people like hearing about it. So what sort of gear and equipment do you like to use in your business?
I'd like to think I've got every tool I need. I've got, obviously in the trailer, I've got a ride-on mower. In terms of push mowers, I have 3 of them. It's always good to, I think, minimum 2.
What brands do you like? What brands are these? What brands do you like using?
Mainly Honda and Bush Ranger.
Yeah.
Honda and Bush Ranger for me are just are almost bulletproof. I mean, you've got to look after your equipment as well. That's a big thing, and I tend to do that with servicing and things like that. But you have got to treat them well, and they'll last you a long time. And I find with those, I think any other brands, you're sort of going to be after 6 months knowing about it, and you're going to be putting your money in your pocket to either fix stuff on those things. But I find Bush Ranger and Honda at the end of the day the ones to go for. So I've basically got all their gear in terms of whippersnippers, hedges, or that and the like, and yeah, mowers and a ride-on. So,
and what's your best bit of advice to someone maybe starting out as a franchisee in the first couple of weeks, or just looking at it? What's your first sort of best bit of advice you can give them from looking back in your time?
Do it. Trust the brand. I mean, the way Jim's is set up, and when I said before, it's second to none. To go into that detail a little bit more, you can really focus on service and quality and all those things in your business, because Jim's has got the other part covered. A lot of people out there that weren't with Jim's have got to worry about marketing. They've got to worry about getting work and leads and all that sort of stuff. I don't think I've ever been short of work with Jim's. If I've wanted more leads, I've turned my leads on, and there they are. It's crazy how easy you can get work through Jim's. So having that side of your business taken care of for you, it really makes it easier. So I think you've got to jump right in. And for me, if you do go out in the field with someone, you know, talk to talk to a franchisor and spend a week in the field before you even think about taking the jump with someone, and just see if it's for you. Don't get me wrong, it's not for everyone, and it will never be that way. But if it's for you, I think you're going to find a really great career, and that's what I have as well. So
yeah, I think people just assume, like, we see it all. I see it all the time because I do all the online stuff, but just don't pay gyms, start yourself, and do a few letterbox drops, and all of a sudden you're going to be really busy. So you need a website, you need to do Google ads, you need to do all this stuff, which costs a fortune, and it's not as easy as what people seem to just think it is.
No, just that area that you covered there is quite stressful to do on your own. Is building your website and making sure people can go to it, and all those other things, that to have that taken care of, and you just do the other parts of your business that probably matter most, and that's just dealing with your clients and your customer service. You're right.
Now fees. Now fees. I was going to ask you about. Do you think, because we are a flat fee model, which people don't realize? They always think Jim takes 30 or 40%. He wishes he did, but but the maybe don't talk about the fee structure. How do you find the fees fair, or what value do you find them? You get value for money, or what do you think about the sort of fees involved?
With the fees, I suppose going in, I knew what they were. It wasn't, nothing was hidden. And after my first month, I didn't see these nothing I wasn't unprepared for.
Yeah.
So I think from what I can see, I've got out of the business, it's quite fair. I think you just got a budget for it, really. I mean, if you've got the work that I've got, you don't really see it as too much of an issue. I don't think. Maybe if you're starting off and you haven't got any customers yet and you're trying to build that business, it may be a bit daunting. But other than that, it's pretty flat rate. You know what's coming at the end of each month, and you've got 4 weeks to plan for it, really. So I don't see it's as much of an issue, but depending on where you are in your business, it could be more so than myself, but I'm finding it okay.
Yeah, because the like if you look at the monthly fee, if you were to spend it on Google ads, or you had to do website, you had to do all this other advertising, you'd be far more, you'd be a lot more behind if you had to do it, just to generate enough quality work. And I think the thing people underestimate as well, you said at the start, but the power of the brand does mean something online. So when someone sees this or Google's mowing online and they see Jim's mowing, they're more inclined to click that result. Whereas with an independent, no one knows who Dave's mowing or Ben's mowing is. They don't know. So it's very hard to compete, and your cost generally is way more expensive than if it was with gyms.
I think you've nailed 2 points on the head there, and that's the thing, is when someone rings gyms or sees the sign, there's a feeling that they know what they're going to get from us, which is accountability and a good service as well, where you don't necessarily know what you're going to get from some of the others, and it's really powerful to have that. You see a group of people standing on a corner there having a chat, and you drive past with the trailer, and you can just see it gets their attention, and it probably spurs up a conversation or reminds them as well. So it's pretty powerful brand. Yeah,
absolutely. And the now the key great word you said then was accountability. I think people, they underestimate that. Like, when you use independence, this is for any trade. Like, if something happens, there is no real accountability, because that person can just go shut up shop, or just stop returning your calls. Whereas with gyms, that could never happen, because we've got that. There's a head office support, and Jim even gets involved sometimes if things happen. So that accountability words, I think, is really important.
It is, and you're still answering to someone at the end of the day, and you're going to get, if you do have a problem, it's going to be fixed one way or another. We don't just say, no, sorry, that's it, that's how it is. So you do, as a client, you do get looked after with gyms. You really do, and there's you can just sleep a little bit easier knowing that we're backing you, and it goes further up the chain as well.
And I also think people, they know that we're not going to be exactly the cheapest or the lowest operator on the market, but they're going to pay a fair price and get a really good job to pay for that accountability for a guy or girl who rocks up and does a fantastic job. And I think consumers are becoming more, because they're having bad experiences, because they go the cheap, they learn their lesson the hard way, and then they come up and they never leave.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree. I agree that you should pay more through us, because I generally believe our service is above and beyond the others out there, and I've seen them. I know what they're charging, and I don't think I know our service is better, and what we provide, and then that's just the service alone. But to have the company and the other things that go along with it as well. And the peace of mind to the customer, I do believe our service should be worth more. And you get that in every business, though. You can go today to an electronic shop and buy a cheap washing machine, but you're sort of unknown how long it's going to last and what you're going to get out of it. But there's certain brands in there that the customer service and everything that comes with buying that model is going to be there, and it's no different to us.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, what about the support in your region? Do you go to meetings, or do you have meetings, and how's the support from maybe the franchisor? So, yeah,
there's a lot of support. So from meetings are just the general one, I suppose. So you can talk to a lot of other guys that may be going through the same things as you at the time. So for a new franchisee, that's incredibly powerful to go along to them and just interact with other people, because the advice you get from there may be very worthwhile to you. But support, if you need it, is literally a call away. You make a call to your franchisor. If they don't answer, generally you'll get a call back within 2 minutes or so in my case. And you're never left out there on your own, put it that way.
Who's your franchisor up in Sydney? Is it Chris or?
Chris Hansen, yeah.
Yeah, and how was the old process going through the contract and stuff experience like? Because that can be pretty daunting to sign up and you get all these documents and stuff. So how was that whole process for you, looking back on it?
Looking back on it now, I remember it being pretty easy, to be honest. Because it wasn't like the training and everything went for 2 or 3 days and it was all crammed into there where you basically didn't know where you were.
It's very full on. Yeah.
So it was very spaced out with the 2 weeks, and even the onboarding with what you're talking about, his contracts and everything like that. There was time to read it, time to talk about it if you needed to, and Chris was very good and thorough with how it was all going to work and basically what's in there as well. So again, nothing was really hidden, and it was a pretty smooth transition.
I'm glad you said that nothing's hidden, because that's the one thing we try and not do is we try and be real transparent, and we try and put everything online and all that sort of stuff, and that's really good to hear. What I'll do, Brent, is there anything else I haven't asked you that you maybe want to get across about Jim's Mowing or anything like that?
No, we pretty much covered a lot. I mean, we could probably talk all day about it, but
we could.
Now we've covered a bit.
No, I appreciate your time anyway. So thanks for taking time out of your day to do this. We appreciate it. And just want to run over this again. So, of course, Silver membership, this is two complimentary nights at any hotel brand, Sofitel, Pullman, Novotel in Australia, Asia, wherever. You get 50% of your dining bill up to that at 1,400 restaurants across Asia Pacific. Get 15% of drinks, which is always good. And you get some more discounts and things and benefits as well. So Emma from our team will send you that via an email. You create an account and then it'll get done. I think it takes like 5 business days or something. But on behalf of Jim's Group and Jim's Mowing, we thank you very much for being a star franchisee. And from speaking to you and only meeting you online today, I can see why you do really, really well. So big thank you for your time and really good luck in your business. And once again, thank you on behalf of the Jim's Group and Jim's Mowing family for everything you do.
Thanks, Joel. Thanks, Jim. We'll talk soon.
No worries.
Thank you for listening to the episode of the More Than Just Mowing podcast by Jim's Mowing. If you do need help with your local gardening expert, please give us a call on 131 546 for Australia, 0800 454 654 for New Zealand, or head to jimsmowing.com.au or jimsmowing.co.nz. If you liked what you heard, please make sure you leave us a review as well, wherever you consume your podcast. We appreciate your support. And until next episode, we hope you have a great week.